The front door slammed so hard the framed wedding photo on the hallway table jumped an inch and settled crooked. I stood in the foyer clutching a bouquet of wilted apology roses, the ones I'd grabbed from the hospital gift shop after my 12-hour shift, and watched Sarah's silhouette vanish up the stairs without a backward glance. "Sleep on the couch, Daniel," she called down, voice brittle as the frost on the windows, "until you can say you're sorry for what you said." I opened my mouth to protest. I hadn't said anything cruel, only asked why she'd been texting someone named Jay at 2:17 a.m., but the bedroom door shut with a finality that swallowed the words. The roses drooped in my fist, petals bruising against my palm. That was Tuesday. By Friday the couch had become my kingdom of exile. A lumpy peninsula in the living room littered with crumpled scrubs, an empty pizza box, and the sour smell of a marriage rotting from the inside. Sarah glided past me each morning in her charcoal pencil skirt and perfume that used to make my knees weak, now a scent I associated with dread. She kissed the kids goodbye, ruffled 8-year-old Mia's curls, reminded 6-year-old Leo to zip his coat, and never once met my eyes. I told myself it was a fight. Fights end. People apologize. Except I still didn't know what I was supposed to be sorry for. Saturday afternoon the house was mercifully quiet. Kids at my sister's, Sarah at brunch with the girls. I sat on the floor sorting laundry because the mundane felt safer than thinking. My hand brushed something rigid in the pocket of her favorite jeans. A brass hotel key card, the kind with a magnetic strip and no room number printed. My pulse stuttered. The hotel was the Meridian downtown 30 minutes away, the place we'd stayed on our 5th anniversary when we still believed forever was a promise we could keep. I should have put it back. Instead I turned it over like evidence. A tiny sticker on the corner read, "Suite 1212. Do not duplicate." The lie detector in my chest started screaming. I drove to the Meridian with the key card burning a hole in my pocket and parked beneath the porte-cochere where valets in red vests pretended not to notice the tremor in my hands. The lobby smelled of lilies and money. I flashed the key at the front desk, mumbled something about forgetting my wallet upstairs. The clerk, name tag Troy, barely glanced up before nodding me toward the elevators. Suite 1212 sat at the end of a carpeted hallway that swallowed sound. I slid the card, heard the lock sigh open, and stepped into a room that reeked of her perfume and someone else's cologne. The bed was unmade, sheets twisted like a crime scene. On the nightstand, 2 champagne flutes, one rimmed with her coral lipstick. My knees buckled. I caught myself on the dresser, fingers smearing across a sticky residue. Spilled Prosecco maybe or sweat. In the bathroom trash I found the condom wrapper. Trojan. Ripped. The brand we stopped using after Leo because Sarah said latex gave her rashes. My reflection in the mirror looked like a stranger. Eyes bloodshot, mouth slack with betrayal so sharp it tasted metallic. I don't remember leaving the room. Only the elevator ride down, the key card snapping in half between my fingers. Back home I sat on the couch, my couch now, and waited. The winter sun bled out early, leaving the living room in bruised twilight. When Sarah's key turned in the lock at 6:47 p.m., I didn't move. She stepped inside, cheeks flushed from cold or something else, and froze when she saw me holding the broken plastic shards. "Daniel." "Suite 1212, I said. My voice sounded like gravel. "Tell me it was a work thing." Her coat slipped from her shoulders to the floor. For a moment she looked impossibly young. The girl I'd met in microbiology lab sophomore year. The one who laughed so hard at my terrible jokes she snorted. Then the mask slid back into place. "It isn't what you think," she whispered. "Then enlighten me." She crossed to the kitchen, poured herself water with shaking hands. I followed, the broken key cutting into my palm. "His name is Jonah," she said finally, staring into the sink. He was my grief counselor." The room tilted. "Grief counselor? After the miscarriage?" Her voice cracked on the word we hadn't spoken aloud in 2 years. "The one I never told you about because you were on nights and I didn't want to add to your plate." I remembered those months. Sarah curling into herself, claiming migraines, sleeping in the guest room. I chalked it up to stress from her promotion. I'd been wrong about everything. "Jonah listened," she continued, tears tracking mascara down her cheeks. "He didn't fix, he just heard me. One night after group it turned into coffee, then dinner, then." She gestured helplessly at the wreckage between us. "I stopped it. Last week. I swear that's the truth." Last week, I echoed. So the text, the hotel. Relapses, she said, the word ugly and honest. I'm disgusting. I know. I wanted to scream, to throw the glass in her hand against the wall, to demand how many times, how many positions, how many lies. Instead I heard myself ask, do you love him? Silence stretched like a wire about to snap. I love the way he made the pain quiet, she said at last. But I love you, Daniel. The real you. The one who falls asleep on the couch during Leo's cartoons and still kisses my forehead when you think I'm asleep. I just forgot how to reach you. The confession gutted me more than the condom wrapper. We had both been drowning, just in different oceans. I sank onto a bar stool. I found the pregnancy test in the trash, I said quietly. The one from September. Negative. You cried for an hour in the shower. I stood outside the door like a coward. Her sob tore through the kitchen. I'm sorry I made you carry it alone, I said. I'm sorry I looked for comfort in the wrong arms. We stayed there until the overhead light flickered on automatically, two sinners in the glare. Later minutes, hours, I couldn't tell, we moved to the couch that had been my prison. She curled into me like she used to after nightmares, her tears soaking my shirt. I held her because letting go felt like erasing the last 10 years. I'll sleep here tonight, I said. Not as punishment. A space. Tomorrow we find a real counselor. Together. She nodded against my chest. Sunday morning I woke to the smell of coffee and Mia's giggles. Sarah stood at the stove flipping pancakes shaped like dinosaurs. Leo perched on the counter helping. She met my eyes over the griddle, swollen, red-rimmed but steady. Blueberry or chocolate chip? She asked. Both, I said. My voice cracked on the word. We ate in cautious silence, passing syrup like a peace treaty. After the kids ran off to build forts, Sarah slid a folded paper across the table. A printed email. Appointment confirmation, Tuesday 4 p.m. Dr. Elena Ramirez, couples counseling. I already called in sick to work, she said. We start fresh. I stared at the paper until the letters blurred. That night I carried my pillow back upstairs. The bed felt too big, the sheets too cold, but Sarah reached for my hand in the dark. I'm terrified, she whispered. Me too. We lay awake listening to the house settle, to the soft snore of Leo down the hall, to the fragile rhythm of a marriage stitching itself back together one honest breath at a time. Forgiveness wasn't a moment. It was 1,000 small ones. It was me deleting Jonah's contact from her phone while she watched. It was her handing over the spare key card she'd kept in her jewelry box. It was Saturday mornings at therapy where we learned to say, I feel, instead of you always. It was the night she woke screaming from a nightmare about losing another baby, and I held her until dawn without asking questions. 3 months later I found the broken key card in my nightstand drawer. I thought about throwing it away, but instead I slipped it into the frame of our wedding photo, the one that still hung crooked in the hallway. A reminder jagged enough to keep us awake, gentle enough to let us heal. Some nights Sarah still reaches for me across the mattress, fingers trembling. I take them, squeeze once. We don't say I'm sorry anymore. We say I'm here. And somehow, in the wreckage of almost losing everything, we find the map back to each other.